9/18/2013. I'm reading from a certain book of schoolwork and drawings put together during my 5th grade year. Lovely. Do you have any news about the cottage? Oh no, it's tomorrow. Yes, my only news about the cottage from today is that I had called her and spoken to her this morning, and have confirmed to stop by the place tomorrow and speak to her that I will stop by the place sometime in the early afternoon. I intend to go there during sometime around 900 in the morning, actually. Great. The place is being cleaned up by her by now. There was some eviction beforehand. Oh dear. Tomorrow the place will be ready to see it. Marvelous. Yes, darling. Fingers crossed. Yeah, oh yes, indeed. And remember, if not this one, then there will be another. My only concern is that of the cottage right beside it, nearby it. Does it look run down? I really hope so, that there will be another somewhat run down from Google Maps, but then the images were from 6 to 7 years ago. Yes, and then on the map itself, the satellite images could look better now. The images are from 2013, and the cottages are repainted to whiter in color by now. Much better. So indeed a change has taken place there at the place over time. Are they close to each other? There is this one other cottage essentially right beside it that I see on the image search. I'm concerned about this one. It is handled as well by the landlord. I do not want there to be noise at my own place from other persons nearby me. Just what I was thinking. This could be a concern, though it could not perhaps. Bad neighbors are a nightmare. Right, I would sense some loud snowboarder or partier, but it sounds as if there has been an eviction before. Pounding, mechanical, garbage, music. Yes, indeed, there was, just before this availability. So the landlord obviously doesn't allow too much bad behavior. No, I agree with you. Well, we mustn't get downhearted if it isn't right. I don't know the reason for it, but indeed some manner of the tenant must have gone wrong, acted irresponsibly against her. Because you already have your doubts. Yes, I know, darling. I'll try not to. I won't let myself get down if it isn't the right place. I'm actually looking quite forward to this place specifically. Good, I shall want to hear all about it. Yes, a studio cottage going for essentially the same price as the precedent Garden of Eden Wilderness Place. That itself is very easy for my finances. I just must confirm of the nearby cottage. Any loudness or noticeable observable noise from the tenant. If no noise from him, then indeed how bad could the place be over time? It would have to be a good enough place for me, at last. 13 years of madness otherwise. To live on your own and have freedom of movement is so desirable. I take it that the cottage is detached, not semi-detached. There must be some evident improvement at this next place. My own place, at my new quaint abode, my legitimate sanctuary. Oh, I hope so. Work was so boring yesterday. I'm used on how much of my life I wasted there. So boring yesterday. Oh, indeed. The vast majority of it. Terrible. The plantation, indeed. But without it, I couldn't talk to you. Yes. Picking cotton every day. Oh, how so? You mean as in you would not be financially lucrative enough to own a computer with internet access to speak to me through it? Without work, you couldn't talk to me. Oh, yes, my salary pays for the internet and many other things. Yes, just as I thought, of course. Yes, so I knock it and hate it. Your salary is indeed vital to you. But it is vital, yes. How awful to be caught in that web. Right. Were your life experience not necessary to have been such a way? Money for sustenance and so forth. Our lives would be so very different. Very different. None of that commercial consumerism. No foundation on money for existence. Money itself, it should be consistent of objects such as crops, and such as gifts, and valuable kinds of material productions. Yes, no more making banksters happy. Exchanges between buyers and sellers, the transactions, the debts themselves must consist of such things, not that of paper, or perhaps not of even silver or gold. It should consist of livestock, and of fruits and vegetables even, and objects of labor, crafts given in exchange to whatever seller. This is as it was to have been thousands of years ago. Well, no livestock for me, but certainly fruits and vegetables and craftsmanship such as the Vikings made. That was how they traded. Right, and I love the idea, but I think how it could be. swords and helmets as credit. Artisan jewelry, swords and helmets, in exchange for other essential things. Right, I've read somewhere about the subject matter from Aristotle, though it is not completely coherent to me, not entirely so as of yet. A perfect world. Oh yes, artisan jewelry as well. It certainly used to work. We have the Viking Jorvik Museum at York. Right, the true decline and degeneration of civilizations occur after such modes of exchange transition into ultimately valueless, meaningless paper, tender, credits, and so forth. And some of their artifacts were truly beautiful and skilled. They were not degenerate. Oh yes, made with great love and care. You are right. Fantasized, idealized. Clever, imaginative people. Valued, imagined cleverly. Right. Yes, if only we could get away from the corruption everywhere now. Well, our epoch right now is certainly not exemplifying itself through this better means of material exchange and production. Right. Is it possible to do so? Somehow, over time, it would become completely impossible to achieve it, to get away from the corruption of this forever declinative civilization. Our epoch has fallen. We are fallen. There are frontiers that remain: Alaska, Yukon, Scotland, Scandinavia, Russia. Not many of them, however, right, mankind has fallen into degeneration by now. He was soaring and upright some centuries beforehand. How hard to elevate oneself in this quagmire of decay. He was affirmative of light. He was. Of intelligence, of enlightenment, of knowledge, of consciousness. They're light resenters now, mixed with us remainders. We are as though specifiable chemicals. Some of us are as though chemicals of light, others of darkness. The chemicals of darkness, when mixed together with the light affirmative chemicals, one undoubtedly calls volatile combustion, reactive explosion, and so forth. Horrible, terrible. The darkness, the legitimate light negators, they have their permanent fearfulness of the light affirmers themselves. They do not desire to be awakened by light and its various qualities aforementioned. It is a sin and a crime to pollute ourselves so. They are forever paranoid of the light, of the daylight itself, and so forth, when it is not around them. True, they are afraid of it, because of the intelligence, enlightenment, knowledge, consciousness of it, because of the high stature, the greatness. They hate this reminiscence. Light reminds them of their low and inferior place, their low quality and low grade. When the light itself manifests before them, they become hostile to it. So true. You can see this evidently in them. You can't. I agree with you. I agree with all you say. There is those sitting around surveying the campsite, permanently on the lookout for light manifestations. Their posture, the countenance, expressions, their movements, and so forth give away the psychology concealed or revealed a part of them. Absolutely so. They're low grade, low quality. Right? Low grade, they're bitter to look at. They are thick, low quality, miserable to look at. Terrible. There occurs disappointment each and every time for having looked at them and having expected to obtain friendship or happiness with their identification. I love this conversation. You're so right. While at the same time, there are various other dark human substances, dark human nationhoods that are wholly affirmative of light, and of light affirmativeness, and the qualities and so forth aforementioned. Many of the nationhoods and many of the human substances a part of the sub-Saharan African terrain and land, especially so, predicate themselves nobly to this aforementioned identification with light affirmativeness. The whole of the indigenous New World continent, however, does not predicate themselves to this aforementioned identification with light affirmativeness, but not at all, by no means at all whatsoever. The words here essentially summarize my thoughts on the subject matter tonight. That is unspeakable, not the older ones. The new youths, my goodness, very bad situation. Shun them, avoid them. It's a very nice place with engineers and inventors. Neglect them as far as you can. Do this against them, that are the new youths. Now we have the youth. Disgusting they are. They are older and wiser persons there at your workplace, however. Oh yes, not identifiable to us. Highly intelligent Bofin types, but better than those you mentioned. Much better. Great that is. Much better to know of that indeed. Indeed. Commune with them, not with those others. No, you're right. September 18, 2013. 9/18/2013. Surviving alone. My news from earlier today is that I had observed and surveyed the studio cottage with the landlord there at this earlier afternoon, and had found it run down, indeed, and substandard. Unacceptable, intolerable it would be. It was as though shack-like, as though a shed, surrounded by plentiful amounts of other cabins, with neighbors everywhere there would be. Gardeners or some kind of servicemen were out front while I was there. A dog was there, and I'm not sure whose it was, though it had to be a neighbor's. Unacceptable it was. I had filled out an application with immediate ambiguity to it, and then left. I won't go any further with that place. I returned home. I had immediately begun looking for some place out of state, specifically so that of Alaska. Indeed, I was and still am strongly considering moving somewhere to that state. I'm through with this type of living condition. I contemplate how to earn additional money. Social Security benefit amounts are entirely insufficient to its recipients. 100 Helheim coin, more or so per month, and then every aspect of my life would change. Yes, and would you still be able to obtain benefits in Alaska? I'm not able to afford less than 1% of the apartment offerings found anywhere online. Terrible. Completely so because Social Security funds its recipients a truly insufficient amount of money. The government does not care less for the inevitable damnation that this brings to those dependent on the benefits and unable to work anywhere essentially at all. I would forcibly have to start a full-time business. It could not be part-time. Otherwise, I would purchase materials. I wonder what you could do. And then they would not profit me. There would not be enough customers. Is there no employment that you can consider? Or buyers, where this business is to be part-time? I will not do full-time business operations. I do not identify with this practice. I cannot think of anything else. Even so, I'm trying to think of what job that you might be happy in. Social Security would likely take any of the profit or revenue from the business out of their paycheck itself. Oh yes, they would. I would be back at square one with my income anyway. They do here. It is a difficult predicament. It would be futile to obtain somehow 100 Helheim coin additional per month through extraneous means. Then I'm considering Alaska. Will you get good benefits there? And I'm directed to an apartment offering that predicates to the true Alaska. It was to have been directed to me in order to scare me away from the state. I know this was to have been so. Haul your own water, chop your own firewood, 3 miles hike in the desolate Alaska woods, get to your cabin from your car. Try not to die out there. Be chased by bears, eaten alive by bugs, no electricity, out in the house in the winter. Insanity! Heavens! I'm not scared away completely from from the state itself. There's Anchorage and there's Fairbanks. Well, it can't be that bad everywhere there. That of which they are essentially industrialized enough towns, perhaps there then, to give comfort like anywhere else civilized. Right. Can you live on benefits there? Then later I'm watching a video surviving alone in Alaska. This man living up in the northeast desolate national park area wilderness. 19 million acres to himself and entirely self-sufficient. I was directed to this video to watch this video. Indeed, I cannot decide upon this, but I sense that I must still consider moving to the state, Alaska. Well, yes, there are benefits there as anywhere else, as any other state here. The cost of living in Alaska, I understand, is far cheaper than any other state. It is exceedingly cold there, exceedingly lonely. Indeed, I looked at images of it. Is that really what you want? I tell myself I just cannot do this to myself yet. Right. It is too bleak. Oh yeah, too final. So very bleak there, completely final. It is the final state. Alaska, at last. I'm not sure that you would want this right now. Well, if you do, I couldn't do it myself. No, not yet. No, I don't think so. I must have somebody by then to accompany me there, up there. Exactly. It is more rugged and cold mountainous than British Columbia. British Columbia itself is further north than the ruggedness of even Washington State. Washington State further north of even the ruggedness of Oregon. Oregon north of the ruggedness of Northern California. No, Big Bear, the Garden of Eden Wilderness itself is a playground compared to this, to Alaska. A children's playground. Frighteningly primitive it is up there. I would be in complete despair were I alone up there. Well, I'm not sure it will be a good thing. Perhaps you should give up that idea. Stay around the place you are now. I think for the time being that I will do so. Yes, something will come up. Well, no, not the Big Bear, the Garden of Eden Wilderness. The place today was rubbish, but there are other towns. I think I must move to Idaho, Montana somewhere. Rubbish today it was. Yes, the place. Other places, yes, like Idaho. Idaho, probably so. I sense very good things about this estate from this state. Well, then you must think seriously about this. I'm not familiar with its towns yet, because wherever you go, you'll be alone. Names or terrains of the various areas. I will be alone next, yes. And if you move further away from your Ask and Emlyn, Loki, and Sigan family, then it will be more difficult to see them. Further away from them, I know, I do not want to do this. Everything must be taken into account. No, I know. Especially so not to ask nor to Embla. It is a case of having to. It must be yes. If you move closer to them, does that mean you move closer to the darkness? This is a severe situation. Oh yes, it does mean so indeed. Oh dear. Fallen towns everywhere around here. The Garden of Eden Wilderness is an island amid dark oceans of them. The primary reasoning for having moved to the Garden of Eden, to crest-like the Garden of Eden, than to here in the first place. Indeed, to get away from essentially everywhere a part of Southern California that I could do so. Yes, indeed. There are really no other areas around here free enough from them. It is a terrible situation. Fearsome, that is. Yes, it is. Well, there must be other places. One day you will settle. Darling, I'm not going to surrender on this. Never surrender. September 18, 2013. 9/19, 2013. If you shun me completely, then I shun you completely. Simple as that. Tor is exempt from this law. Frigg is, of course, exempt from this law. Usk is exempt from this law. There's nobody else on this planet that is exempt from this law at this point in my time. You had to have proven to me that you at all cared or observed or recognized even a fractional amount of understanding or identification of me having anything to do with me at all whatsoever. This was not to have been the case with essentially anybody else on this planet, with the exception of some small handful amount of persons. Shunning is by far the most completely painful of all possible experiences in relativity to all or any psychological or metaphysical suffering, especially so as were the shunning to have been all the more enduring, complete, total, prolonged, and irrecoverable from it. I sense ever the more strongly by now that the ultimate purpose of this life experience was to have been justified to the Creator and to have affirmed to him ever further the supposed greatness that he was, is, and will forever continue to have been. The Creator is a sadistic, vicious, abominable, malevolent monstrosity. He damned his self-substance clearly and evidently for such a form of justification. Look at me. I've damned my closest near-at-hand creation to eternal fire and suffering. I am so very great. The peripheral substances, the angels, and so forth, even so, still chime in together with him in the agreement. Oh, he is so great. Without any remorsefulness or reflection or compassionateness at all whatsoever for the helplessly and unnecessarily damned self-substance, the peripheral substances, the angels, and so forth, are forever wholly naive, ignorant, unquestionable of the Creator's transcendental, fixated, determined moral system from up above. Whatever the Creator's volition wills and does, no matter what it is, the peripheral substances, the angels, and so forth, will be naively, ignorantly, and unquestionably in agreement with his certain abstraction. Whether or not the self-substance himself is to be tied down onto a rack, it is having been tortured cruelly, mercilessly, and criminally so, without any ultimate justification at all whatsoever for such act to have taken occurrence. They are truly that very stupid and worthless to the rescue or to the salvation of the self-substance. But they act with a certain type of practice merely so for the Creator wishes such an unspeakable act to have been performed unto the self-substance. Even so, the peripheral substance and angels and so forth will remain in agreement with him. Even so, that it is clearly proven and recognized ultimately unto the self-substance himself that the Creator is a sadistic, vicious, abominable, malevolent monstrosity. Indeed, the worst of all possible life experiences. He would reaped what he had sowed, were he truly a most perfect and omnibenevolent Creator. Of course, he will not reap what he had sowed against his self-substance creation, for he is not at all perfect, especially so is not at all whatsoever an omnibenevolent Creator. 9/22/2013. This extraordinary man. I watched all of your morning prayer to you yesterday afternoon. Oh, really great. What a glorious place to stand. Yes, it is. You chose the most amazing place. Incredible. Those clouds. I have returned to it from April. And yes, they look like mountains. The clouds were there again this time too. They remind me of Tannhäuser. Now, the music. The path to the rock. Everywhere, as of now, it has become overgrown with weeds and shrubs and tall grasses and so forth. It was quite difficult to walk through it all. I laid down on the ground while on the film, my face essentially to the ground, and then, all day afterward, I was sneezing and given strong allergies. Ha ha! Indeed, there were pollens everywhere around that area, and bees too. I was concerned about that. Were there some beehive around the area? That would have been very dangerous. Ha ha ha! Oh dear. Well, at least you saw bees, as they are now an endangered insect. My footsteps around the area, irritating them, and swarming after me. Ha ha! Ha ha! Bees? Really endangered? Oh my! Yes, darling. Now, they're dying off all over the world. In the California area, there are African killer bees. Especially in the United States of America and in Europa, it is due to Monsanto. They have made it in huge swarms over to this area. Very dangerous insects to humans. And the dangerous chemicals and pesticides. Monsanto, what is this? Oh yes, I agree. I see. Monsanto is an American company. Giant company. Oh, they have a very bad name in the United States of America and here. Are they a pesticide company? They do GM crops that manufactures pesticides. Yes. Oh, okay, I see. Bees mean life. And the bees are dying. Of course they do. Without them, man has hardly any food. It is terrible. Right, they are indeed such an important insect. So, you were lucky to see them. I was, ha. Ha ha ha. Such a beautiful area. So, when they sting you next time, you know you're lucky. Ha ha. I was overwhelmed with joy when I was nearing up to the area during my drive to it. It is glorious. Tell me about the music. The first part was Wagner. Suddenly, the clouds beside me, to the valley, were revealed the clouds covering all over the area. Above the valley, during this incident again as well. Oh no, the music, it is not Wagner. Can you believe this? This wonderful man, Hans wrote. Heavens! 26 years of age. Deceased. The music in the film, composed by him when this man was a mere 22 years of age. He was heavily influenced by Wagner. Clearly a gigantic man, a genius intellect. So unfortunate, terrible. His life experience was to have been, what year? He was ridiculed by Brahms. Oh, he had offered his symphony to Brahms for his approval, and he was ridiculed by him. And then Hans wrote. He pulls a revolver out on the train on a train journey to another passenger, threatening the passenger. Oh, Brahms has filled the train with explosives. Hans wrote. He concludes his life in a mental institution. The doctors write of him. How terrible. He suffers from hallucinatory insanity. Yes, persecution mania. Recovery no longer to have been expected. Poor man. He then dies at a mere 26 years of age of tuberculosis. Dreadful. Can you imagine this man where he should have lived a full length of life in only 26? The music of his symphony, the beginning of it, it is mystical. It was so very forced. It was so like forced murmurs. So very mystical, very mystical. He is reflecting the music with himself. I thought it was Wagner. His own identity is reflecting himself through this music. It was. And even so, at his age, yes, already, incredible. He was mystical already, innately mystical, and so forth. To think what might have been. He was inspired, clearly and evidently, very strongly by Wagner. Very strongly. The symphony of his was composed around the time of Wagner's Parsifal. Yes, Hans wrote. I wonder if it was Define. I wondered if it was Define. He is so very much like me. It is fearsome to behold this. This is truthful. An opera I don't know well. Oh no, not so. He was like you, darling. Yeah, but then wrote is as though a formal consideration of Wagner himself. Praise that! That occurs here to us. He was, I can see a similarity. Were we ever to have felt lonesome with only Wagner for such kind of music? Just don't go down his path in life. Only in music. Yes, Roth was yes, Roth was at Wagner's Lohengrin stage at the time. I understand this. At the time of Roth's symphony. No, I cannot do so. I will not surrender to that course that was of Roth's. I will fight against this, being overcome by that, of course. It frightens me. Of course not. I meant that you are similar musically and spiritually. Nothing more. Because Roth is so clearly a derivative generation of me. Yes, that is true. I agree with you. Oh yes. I don't know much more about him, actually. You know more than me. But do you see his identity speaking to everybody through this music of his? You didn't put the music. Oh yes, the Symphony No. 1, which you usually do. But Hans wrote, right? I'll look for it. I shall probably include it. I think so, just for the sake of Hans wrote. Fearsome, that is. Yes. Standing out and above them. Well, darling, you're the genius. Above every last one of them. So fine, so gigantic, so young at the same time. So young, so lonesome, so gifted, so alone and alone. So brutal, yes. Life can be, it is not always a great experience. No, of course not always. It was not so for him. His imagination of love. Can you imagine what this woman would have been to him, were she to have been imagined in his own mind? An amazing woman, indeed. September 22, 2013. 9/23/2013. Doubt the ridiculousness of your certainty, you very wise man. The certainty is, of course, concordant with the brightest truthhood. The brightest truthhood is by no means ridiculous or concordant with ridiculousness. They desire for our swords from us, for us to stop us from ever swiping at them. For they are hurt and harmed and suffered and afflicted with multitudinous, ever further quantifiable amounts of wounds from us. Their proposition to us, the proposition to have us doubt ourselves, is indeed a primary losing, declining, fallen, final cause and efficient cause, Kali Yuga, defeatist bondage morality tactic and technique, if only for them to try to reorder and to reposition themselves and ourselves a part of the tide, a part of the course of life experiences, progression, and so forth, relative to their own favor, to their what side of the battlefield. The moral value system judgments are forever inescapable and attributable to invertedness, backwardness, and downsidedness. They're clearly the side of the battlefield that seeks the removal of the spinal cord itself from the human anatomy, the spinal cord and so forth, and ultimately, of course, they seek to remove the essence of the carable system, the attributes of the carable system. Anything at all whatsoever attributable to the generation of the carable system, of the human generation itself, altogether, for they doubtlessly, and without any waiver of themselves at all whatsoever, clearly or cleverly, directly or indirectly, consciously or unconsciously, concretely or discreetly, desire and intend to sell the Teutonic category and its various other human attributes to the malevolence down below. For every during the epoch of Imperial Roma, and added to this the era and epoch of classical Greca and so forth, gathered far too much and far too many high quality life experiences, high grade life experiences, high rank life experiences, victorious life experiences, superior life experiences, clearly in relativity to ourselves. Doubt yourself, you righteous, masterful, successful victor. You shall doubt yourself, you glorious winner. There we shall grasp your sword from your hand. By now, your sword it is forever clearly always against us ourselves. And we shall then have our dignity, a darkness, a malevolent steps, a sin that we sever, all firm and identify with. Swipe at you with the one and only victorious sword that what's within your hand until you're defeated and deceased. We shall then swipe at you, and it says, for you have to make a cause prone to sin, even so, with such weapons, you have to apply for possession, and where you yourself to be in fair hand, just against us. Also, for this would be our one only single revelation of our actual, evident, clear, and truthful intentions. We do not ever reveal our concealed intentions and desires before you in any presence. We leave in this comprehensive recognition to your own analytics and wisdom. Haha. Ultimately, we never do so at all whatsoever, even to ourselves. We even forget about our own legitimate, malevolent, concealed intentions over the course of time, though our own very foulness and our every positive human condition forever remains present a part of us. For indeed, we are just return as those stages of structures like blood to self and promise to rest to the high quality, the high grade, the full intellect and identities. For we are the very total essence of dissimulation, of cowardice, of betrayal, of criminality, of deception, of dishonesty, of negativity, and so forth. We shall never for one moment doubt ourselves or cause ourselves a reflection or thoughtless, specifically so about our own one and only victorious swords or raised directly and clearly against them, before any one of them, before the bondage moralists. If we must escape the seemingly perpetual practice of the witchcraft confliction, therefore forever attempting to reorder and to reposition ourselves to their inferior level, or to reorder and to reposition themselves somehow or some way, but no means is it possible to actualize this, but themselves up to our superior level, then we must disassociate ourselves from them completely, totally, entirely, absolutely, wholly so. Ultimately, the subsequent proposition becomes asserted and affirmed to ourselves with absolute credibility and validation. Western civilization itself is haram, impermissible, forbidden, denied, prohibited, terminated. Altogether, it's a aforementioned proposition with absolute credibility and validation indeed. September 23, 2013. 9/23/2013 too. The aforementioned definitions and demonstrations of the bondage moralists themselves are in point of fact indoctrinated into the Teutonic category and its various other human attributes of themselves over the course of time. The originative psychology of the bondage moralists does not even source from the Teutonic category and its various other concordant human attributes and so forth itself. The indoctrination of the originative witchcraft confliction of the bondage moralists does indeed source from, formerly, essentially, or so from the Semite, the Jew, the Hebrew, the one and only priestly human racial substantiation indeed. 9/23/2013. The Semite, the Jew, the Hebrew, the one and only priestly human racial substantiation is by no means himself attributed to bondage, morality, value system, judgments, and all whatsoever. Not so relatively to himself or relatively to his own metaphysique and so forth. 9/23/2013. 4. He's going to have conquered the entirety of the planets. We must do so. We cannot bear to lose his glory against them. Let us craft us then our Christianity. Ha ha ha. 9/24/2013. I'm quite alright tonight. I've been sleeping very much since yesterday night, more or less. Lucky you. Haha. Yes, how are you, darling? Well, I'm taking medication now for my back. How does your back feel today? Slightly better. Is it getting better? Okay, slightly better. But of course it is only medication masking the problem. Nevertheless, yes, agreed. I'm happy to be in less pain. Static loading, they call it. Static loading? It is the worst position. Oh, really? Yes, static loading. Static loading is when you put all your weight on your lower spine. Right. Standing still, bending forward, indeed, with your knees still straight. It can cause you very severe pain. Very bad for you. Oh, right. It has happened to me in the past. Yes, and it helps the discs in your spine become displaced. That very severe pain in the lower back. Oh, you've had this too. Yes, it is dreadful. I think that I may have slipped a disc in the past too. Yes. Oh, it is. Yes, I had a slipped disc. Almost paralyzing. It can become such a way. I was in hospital and then away from work for 4 weeks. Amazing. And they were so good to me. Yes, great. Really, they were lovely. They were lovely family business then. Came to see me in hospital and brought me flowers. Do you have any news from anyone? No news from anyone. Anybody as of now. It's been quiet here, calm and peaceful. Well, we like quiet. It is content here. Yes, quiet is good. Yes, I'm pleased for you, Odin. The lights are out still. It brings peace to your soul. Not having been fixed yet. Oh, I did see name withheld yesterday. Had a session with her. Oh, really? Did you? The session. I don't know about this anymore. Oh, I do not like her ultimately. She's kind and loving, but she's not one of us. It drives me mad afterward. It is difficult to talk to someone you do not like. Her logic, her principles, as though not one of us. Is she dark? Strip yourself away of your identity, Odin. No, she's white, perhaps German even. Oh, I see. Name withheld or Austrian. I think name withheld can be Jewish, but if it's frustrating afterward. Well, she does not speak of Judaism affirmatively at all whatsoever. Or perhaps her husband is. And metaphysics are by no means Jewish sounding. Oh, that is right. Perhaps her maiden name is something else that is white. That's right, still. Well, for now, it is difficult to talk to someone. Oh, decide not to revisit her when you don't care for them. For the time being, at least. Right? Frig! I have affirmed something that I received negation from her. I affirmed something that I received negation from her. I can only fight against her, to refute her side of the battlefield. That's no good. I cannot get past that specific stage. It should not be a battlefield. That inert, primitive, unenlightened, darkened stage. Right. Were we to get past that stage? No, that's not right. Then we could be chanting out loud together in the streets even, without shame. Yes, crying and shouting for mercilessness and joyfulness, with the Creator and so forth. But with them, such type of persons as her, unnamed withheld, we cannot get past even the Protestant stage, the most unnecessary stage, the most inert, immovable, conflictive stage. So indeed, undesirable to affirm of her association with me, move on to somewhere else. Well, perhaps she has no belief system. Perhaps she has no understanding of or empathy with God. If at all possible to obtain such comradeship in person around here, she has some kind of belief system or empathy toward the Creator, though it is not patriarchal. It is life negative. Understood. Rather than, no good for you. Praise the material cause and so forth. It is instead turn away from it. To what then? Ultimately to nothingness, which this is impossible to do so, and undesirable to do so. No, she's ultimately not good for me. I must formalize my identity. That is my purpose, to associate with her. I must formalize my identity, advance it, just forever innate perfection. Just waiting to obtain its stage, that is my purpose, to associate with her, that type of person. Sometimes I feel your prayer videos, music are your salvation. Well, not your salvation, but that you get more out of making those than you do talking to her. Oh, right, frig. The prayer videos, they help me formalize myself. You see it over the course of time. I feel that. Various stages of the prayer videos over the course of time. Yes. But now you see myself formalizing greatly. That's why I think they are essential to you. Almost perfectly brought about. Yes, they are. I think so too, love. It is one important and significant medium or means to do this. Another means is voice recitation. Very important, and that is why you must continue with them. This itself is so difficult to do so, given the household conditions around here. I must obtain my own place. I feel tremendous spirituality from the prayer videos. And then such means voice recitation too shines brilliantly my identity. Yes! I do too. That I feel tremendous spirituality from the prayer videos. That too. Tremendous spirituality. Yes! Good dreams and sleeping. Essentially better than awaking to me at this point in time. Sorrowful and undesirable to others, but not to us that understand ourselves. I understand. That know our situation. 9/25/2013. I'm quite alright right now. Though feeling great hatred against them, the others, sickened by them, disgusted by them. It is later my life's experience by now. By them in general, or the people in the house. By them in general, I mean, okay. I'm neglected by them, shunned by them, completely. At the same time, I was surrounded by only them. I grew up around only them. I grew up around them, only them. My identity is not that of their own. The truthhood is not that of their own. I'm absolutely master moralist, lordship moralist. It must be difficult, Odin, to be so far above them. None of them predicated themselves to this specific value system. And yet be surrounded by them. So over the course of time, I'm struggling everything that I can do to overcome them, to overcome the residue that inevitably and helplessly remained a part of me because of knowing only them. Earlier in time's duration, unspeakable that such early conditions, the life background was to be this way. Then in my writings, my books, it has seen traces of them. Yes, of affirming them. How could I have affirmed them at all whatsoever? Why was I not hard enough against them to have actualized my identity clearly and evidently against them? I need to stop that, to stop doing that altogether to them, for them. It needs to be erased, to stop pandering to them, to stop considering them at all whatsoever. That as though there's somehow, some truth predicated to their inferiority, to their inferior identities. No, not at all whatsoever. It is not present in them, a part of that truthhood. Hardness, it must be affirmed by now, stronger than ever. But then, at this point, there's nobody here, not any one of them. They've stopped listening to me. And so, were I to improve myself to the point of legitimately refuting them altogether, they do not receive at all my words or my thoughts and so forth. They think that they have won this battle, this war. It cannot be over as of yet. I do not believe this. Residue of them, it had remained. Helplessly, inevitably. Southern California, everywhere, punishable idiots. Everywhere. I could have actualized myself elsewhere far faster. I could have actualized myself far faster elsewhere and have refuted them legitimately and not to have had them run out of patience or attention against me. In this battle and war, I would have achieved legitimate victory against them, and rightly so, on the side of the Creator, on the side of everybody rightful and truthful. Everything occurs for its own reasoning, whether good or bad to me. There's no independent volition, no free volition. Curse that abstraction. Every precedent causation occurs as evident logical effect and consequence of whatever antecedent causation. Oh, I'm stuck with them here in this darkness. Nothing but them in my own mind. Water element, fallacious and unsound and invalid, though forever resilient, forever forgetful of its invalidity. What's in it is to have been refuted, springs right back up. Immediately so afterward. Wrong they are. Antagonists, villains, monsters, though imperishable. Terrible pain that is. Unspeakable suffering that this is for the heroes. For the truth seekers, for the truth affirmers. Against them. Forever perpetually against them. Reasonably so. Well, Odin, it must be difficult to be agonizing with all this. It is. This life experience should not have been this way. Nor should have become this way. I have no words of comfort for you, of course. How could I? All I can do is listen. It is okay with you. Is okay with me. Thank you. I agree. It should not be this way. No, it should not. You should not be going through this. No, I affirmed the head over the heart. Oh, yes. That is the foundation of myself. You cannot affirm the heart over the head and stand upright as a human. You will stoop down and stoop over, hunch over, suck on your belly. Nonsense that is. They, every last one of them, affirmed the opposite of the truth. Their downside as a sensible result. Yes. They do not see this. Everywhere, everything about them, downside, nobody's, zero values. They were not zero values originally. They do not have it in them to naturally identify with zero valuedness. They were giants on this planet. Intellectual giants. Physical giants too, even. We cauterize and remove the disease. We begin at Imperial Roma. Simple as that. With the disease removed, extracted, and terminated, we begin with Traian and Romulus, Augustus, and Tiberius, and so forth. We proceed onward from there. Upward, higher, to the up above. Marble and ivory everywhere. Robed like the Creator himself. The Christians that see him as such. For the Christians imagine the Creator as subconscious reflection of their sight and perception of the Romans themselves. And of the Greeks likewise. You see their vision of paradise. It is everywhere like the Roman and Greek cities themselves. Like the civic forum itself, and so forth. The Romans did not reflect against themselves without the help of the eternal Jewish villain. See that Acropolis. It is not the earth, they say. The more they felt beneath the value, they say, then you will pay the afterlife. But the soul has been sold to them by then. They did not obtain the Acropolis, the Parthenon, and so forth. They're completely, totally destroyed and zeroed out afterward. Masterful trickery. The Teutonic has betrayed himself. Damage is everywhere evident some 2,000 years later. I did not give in to this. Sick and disgusted, full of hatred against them. Yes, the damage is everywhere, and I know that you do not give in to it. The embodiment of hatred against them. Yes. It is depressing. I know. It is infuriating. It is billions and billions of them. Desirable to have them cauterized, removed, extracted, destroyed. We begin mankind. It is so evident to do this. The planet is screaming at us to re-begin us. I know. I agree. This plague of human beings. September 25, 2013. (9/28/2013). I am quite all right. I've slept very much as of lately. In fact, good. Very many hours of sleep. Your body needed it. Yes, it still does so. How lucky you are to be able to answer the call. To be able to sleep a lot. Yes, I am. Right, darling. It is heaven. Oh, I agree with you! Are you still tired? I'm still tired, yes. Oh, poor prince. I lose myself in my sleep. I become as though essentially addicted to it. You must rest your head and have wonderful dreams. Well, I'm awake right now. It is addictive. I become lost in this world of my dreams. That itself, wonderful, is very addictive. Nature's nurse. There are occasional nightmares, of course, though I am alive still and am still capable to wake up from these. Well, yes, that is the downside. I've had them. Yes, nightmares seem to recur of their themes to me. But I always seem to wake myself up at the moment of greatest fear. The theme for much of the time has to do with Satan! Oh, yes, that plays on your mind. Yes, to wake up from them, it is a relief. To do so, right. Very bad dreams those are, in those dreams, but they linger for a little while. He is as though indestructible. After waking, he's forever belligerent and brutish, and he does not let up, does not ever surrender. Terrible, right. He is your torment. During my earlier years, my torments, as you say, it was of Satan. Something about another torment. Argumentations with him. He's right, he says as he does rightly. If I do not agree with him, then I must get out of the house. Must be evicted, essentially. I'm forever in disagreement with him, battling against him, against this command of his. Awful. Yes, well, but now, the Satan nightmares are gone and over with. Do you keep those feelings after waking, just for a little while? I understand that I have overcome his perceived superiority to me. I think that I do, yes. A little while afterward, I try to remember my dreams afterward, as though to memorize them and have them stored in my memory. Then very soon afterward, I wake up. I remember my dreams very clearly. My mind begins to return to its ordinary, fast, and rapid intellectual activity. Yes, but my dreams linger. Then the dreams themselves, they disappear. Almost altogether from me. Well, that is good. Something about this intellectual activity. It erases the memories of the dreams afterward for the most part. It dispels them quickly, yes. But there are the major abstractions of the dreams that do remain for me. Fortunately, so strange it was. I tried for years to understand after waking just what it was, specifically so that I was dreaming about having to do with Satan. I knew that these were bad dreams, but after awakening, what exactly was it that was occurring during the dreams? Strange. I think that I know what it was by now. Well, I've mentioned it already a moment ago. But indeed, so completely alone I am. Solitude has become complete and absolute by now. Yes, I know. Online persons have desolated themselves from me. There's nobody in person either. Really? Yes. Yes! Online too. Yes, there's the Facebook website. I believe this new piece to be the most beautiful that I've done so far, by far. This fantasy for strings too. You always say that. Better than the Grail, I think. Fantasy for one, yes. Fantasy for string. A fantasy for strings at one. Ah, yes, I do. And I think to myself that you're right when I hear it. Though the others are still wonderful. But this is because these pieces I mentioned are indeed better than the prior ones. I think so, at least. Of course, they have to be, because you are maturing. Yes, I believe so. Oh, of course, yes. Your music is maturing with you. Right. It is inevitable. Many of my 2010 to 2012 pieces online are by now marked private. I had to do this. Really? They were as the blemishes to me compared to these new pieces from 2013 with this new from 2013 with this new keyboard. Understand? Yes, they are still online but marked private. I will not get rid of them. I hide artwork that I did years ago. I won't throw it out, but it looks infantile to me. But other persons will hear the true essence of my music through these public and published pieces, compared to later work. Right, I leave the 2006 to 2009 pieces of mine published and still public, however. So in some small way, I understand. These pieces by no are blemishes and so forth to me. These are the foundation pieces. Yes, you understand, of course. Yes, foundation, of course. Yes, for you, yes. Comfort and sublimity up to pure intention and evil sentiment. Yeah, I still love your piece illustrated by Napoleon. 2006 to 2009. That was my favorite back then. I know you do. I remember that, you mentioning it. It was fantastic, actually. Certainty, illumination, vaporization. Is that the title? Yes, it is the title. Brilliant piece. That was difficult for me to do. Which ones to decide to mark private or to keep public? Did you mark that one private? The certainty piece predicates the 2010 to 2012 era. I did indeed mark this one private. Yes, I'm sorry about that. Oh. It's doubtful to me that it should be marked private, that piece. I would like to listen to that again. I make mark it public just for you. Please do. Yes, I will do so later tonight. I shall always love that one. Mark it public. Ah, thank you. Thank you. I may even listen to it again tomorrow. Really, oh, very lovely. It was a cracker. Ha ha. Napoleon. That's what we Brits say. A cracker? What do you mean by this, love? I don't really know. Ha ha ha. I sense a strong racial slur here, actually. Ha ha. It means something great, dynamite. Nothing to do with race. Negative the term would be to us. Right, of course, I know. Like a Christmas cracker. Boom. Something great, dynamite, yes, a firecracker. Ha ha, yes. Really, that piece. Yes, for me. Right. It stirred me. Oh, well, perhaps. I thought it was brilliant. I should listen to it again. Indeed, I haven't looked back on such era's music for quite a while. Well, different people hear different things. What moves me might leave you cold. When I did one piece recently, I was quite spellbound and amazed by its triumph and beauty. The piece it was. Right, I agree with you. Could not be the case with you. Could not be the case with you. However, triumph and beauty. What moves you has to move me. Yes, I remember that. I sense this. I sense this too. Yes, the Sunlight video. Quite the same era it was as Certainty. Yes, predates it, I think. Okay. Well, later tonight it goes public. Well, I don't remember. The Certainty piece. I shall have to listen again. Of course. Very sweet, very faithful. Understander English, Chester. Very loyal. Oh, indeed. Oh, yes, his English is perfect. He has a fluent vocabulary. He does. The two dogs understand English perfectly. With humans over time, far more intelligent than we credit them. They acquire it, yes. So are octopus. I know that sounds funny. I agree, octopus, yes. No, as you say. But I was studying them. Right, right, one of the mightiest of the aquarians, actually, the octopus. And they are now known to be highly sensitive, intelligent, and they feel pain. Oh, very much so. Oh, yes, I see you now. I do, as you say, I agree. Number 8. Amazing, beautiful creatures. Anything with the number 8. Any animal. Ah, yes. Formal cause animal it will be. Understood. This goes for the arachnid too, yes. I wish man would just leave them alone. Arachnids, yes. I feel the same way as you do. The Spanish are horrible. The Spanish, horribly cruel. Really, why so? Why is this? Oh, the bullfighting, yes. Well, they have a bad reputation with animals. All animals, yes. Oh, all animals, yes. But they drag all creatures out of the sea. Right, I see this now. Cut the fins of sharks and let them drown, just to make a soup. Right, that no one really needs. No, of course not. It angers me deeply. There's this one food, I'm trying to spell it. Foie gras, I think. Disgusting, indeed. French, appalling. Yes, this is French. There's torments to duck animal with this practice to make this food. Yes, this wealthy, luxurious, ultimately unnecessary food. It is very much debated here in the United Kingdom. Most people would never eat it. Humans will push this feeder into the throat of the animal. Yes, that's right. Completely painful to it in order to fatten it until the liver swells. Right, they are caged, completely imprisoned, confined, and cramped. I've seen pictures of these aquatic animals living in squalor and killed ultimately. Yes, and cowering in the corner, terrified after it is done. Oh, the conditions themselves of the animal, it is terrifying without apprehension of the murder, even. Exactly. They are shaking completely without care. Yes, weak and hurt, with no one to care for them and to rescue them. Well, it is legal still. Yes, in France. How can this still be? Yes, in France. Well, the French do not have a good reputation with the animals either. It is not allowed in the United Kingdom. No, there are some other luxury foods theirs acquired through despicable means. Yes, rose veal. Well, that is good at least, not in the United Kingdom. Rose veal, neither are allowed in the United Kingdom. Is it similar to foie gras, the practice to obtain it? Well, baby calves are kept in complete darkness, taken away from their mother too soon. The mother is crying for her baby for days, and the baby calf is kept in confinement without any light. Yes, its bones are so soft that it cannot walk to slaughter. It has to be carried to slaughter. Appalling. Yes, indeed. Sometimes they are too weak to stand to eat, and are made by farmers and their wives. So baby calves rose veal, using vicious dogs on them. Sorry, no, white veal is the worst one. Okay, white veal. They are despicable. Right, they are beyond comprehension of civilized man. I'm thinking of Southeast Asia right now. That is even worse. Indeed, the practices in such part of the world are too terrible to contemplate, but far beyond comprehension of civilized man. Yes, indeed, darling, it puts you and I on a different level. Very inhuman it is. I am very glad to say. Of course, these are the dregs of humanity. A better level. Territorial expansion of us was priority. It was necessary. We had nowhere else to expand ourselves. We must settle with North America. The Cherokee and so forth are better to us. The Plains Indians, their looks are always rough. The Navajo, I think, yes, agreed, the native Indians do look better. Oh, very rugged their looks are, more refined. Their faces incredible, actually. I think some native Indians with their high cheekbones can be beautiful. Right, the Old West Indians are better. In fact, they're good people, actually. The Old West Indian. They were feral, yes. Yes, I understand that. But they were noble and adventurous. Yes, and truly conservational. They have the spirit. They are of nature and of wilderness and so forth. They fight for the wolf. So indeed, these are good people. I saw them online. The Old West Indians. Very good people, yes. In fact, I admire much of them. Everything about their lifestyle. I, too. What is there not to admire about them? Correct. Horses for transport. Grasses, woods, sands, lakes, and so forth. Everywhere. Yes. Some wood cut down here and there for housing. Firewood. But that is that. An animal killed only when necessary. Everywhere around them, wilderness. Not indiscriminate killing. And nature. A reverence for nature. Completely modest. Yes. Of the productions of their lifestyles. Right. It sounds a good life. They're totally to be praised by us. I agree. We expand over them. They're such good natural persons. Yes. We do not like the down below. It sounds like the life you would enjoy, in one way. Oh yes, we would enjoy this life. Yes. It is so very Teutonic, but in its own way. Yes, Teutonic. Oh, agreeable. I understand. Well, it had happened. The territorial expansion. Yes, that had happened to them, these noble good persons. Agreed. Not always a good thing. It is hard to decide upon this, I know, whether we or them. Some call it survival of the fittest, if the white man won. Whether we or them were acting for the best. Right, but I'm not so sure. Well, somehow, some way, it is a shame that we acted so badly towards them. There is good reasoning for the territorial expansion. I say we because it was primarily the British. Ultimately, I sense it is this perspective of aforementioned that must predominate. Right, we did act very badly to them. That itself was unfair to them. But perhaps it was necessary to do so. Territorial expansion, I understand. If only to survive ourselves, to find that breathing room, to acquire that. Yes. Away from whatever circumstances beforehand, a part of the old world. Yes, I know. I just wonder, sometimes at what my ancestors did. I do understand the reasons. I wonder about it too. But the methods, I'm not sure. I'd spoken to you about this while I was living with... While I was speaking to you about this. Yes. I'd spoken to my former roommate about this while I was living with him. Yes, he himself is an old West Indian, and when I speak to him about it, by no means can I evade from feeling sympathy for him. No, there's no logic that can escape this. You're right. So, well, it happened. We are here now at this point in history. At this point in time, yes, we can change nothing. We cannot abandon ourselves, everything. Right. No, we have to do all we can to make amends. The only credible solution to leave ourselves the old world Europa altogether is the only absurd solution, and live with it. Amend with everybody's situation. Yes, so difficult. Designed perfectly it was, were this life experience to have been conceived upon the self-subsistence birth as of right now, so that the events of such past with the old West Indian were not ultimately to have been lived or experienced, actually physically so, be simply manifest and written down a part of the life experience's story, conceived already, immediately so, no suffering of the experience, but simply it had forever been present to us, to me, for whatever ultimate purpose that it will affect the self-substance. Decide upon this, Odin. He says. 9/29/2013. Dream sequence. I'm at a school setting, environment very similar to the high school setting environment that I'd actually known and experienced in the past. I'm alone and walking through its outdoor setting. There is a plentiful amount of other students around. It is as though I'm an historic figure to them, outdated and grown up for the time and place, but respect is given to me from them. At last, for the first time in ages, I find it come up to Mimir, sitting out on a schoolyard bench just outside the school's band room of music. He is seated with a best friend of his, one that I had actually known and experienced in the actual past. I say Mimir's name to him as I come up to him. I have everything that I wish to say to him. I do not know who you are, he says in an astonishingly heartbreaking reply to me. He speaks as though with a Dutch or German accent to me. He himself is as though from a foreign country. Nothing that I can do can get him to remember me. In the dream itself, even the both of us are aware that we are ultimately related, and that we are ultimately brothers, though we cannot get past the present heartbreaking impediment of the situation. Sigyn suddenly manifests close by to him. She is made up and dressed as though occupied with some upscale busy job. She's walking past me, quickly and rapidly, and immediately without recognition or remembrance of me. At last, I see her for the first time in ages. Likewise, I try to catch up to her in her busy, occupied tracks. I say to her, "Wait, Sigyn!" with every intention to re-begin our lives' experiences together with each other again. She turns around wholly impatiently to me and says to me, "What the hell do you want?" She says some further obscure words to me, completely and totally heartbreaking to me. She turns out to be forever occupied by her point in time with endless and unnecessary, unimportant business activity. she turns out to be completely manipulated, deceived by some obscure third-party person. She is altogether without remorse, without pity or empathy at all whatsoever. She has no regrets for her heartless treatment toward Odin. By the way, do not call me your friend. I'm not your friend. You're not a young man anymore. Grow the hell up and move on from me. Be your own adult. Be your own man. She goes away from me very impatiently. Both of us are aware that we are related, that we are friend and friend as such. The recognition of this could not possibly move her. At this point, I'm crying in tears, both in the dream and in actuality outside of the dream. My voice in the dream continues crying for her, crying her name out. The sound of it as though of a truly young child, in complete disbelief and incredulity at what has taken occurrence and relativity to me. Nine 13 2. I'm not negative. I'm the one that is ultimately never negative. A dream that I could write about. The dream that I write about did indeed occur to me. It is actual. It did occur. This is against my conscious volition, beyond my control. Indeed, the description of it is 100% legitimate, and with 100% good reasoning for it. Otherwise, it would not have occurred a part of me, against my own volition and beyond my own control of it. I will continue to go further and further back in time. Nothing about this life's precedent experience is at all whatsoever affirmative to me, neither at all whatsoever identifiable to me. I write about this completely universally negative situation at the external actual physical threshold with every opportunity that I do so. You see it everywhere. I write about this finalized era epoch everywhere. I'm one of the great identities attributable to this life experience. I'm one of the rare identities, a part of a mere handful of quantities. This greatness, this betterness of value is not attributed to hardly anybody else at all whatsoever any further. This is not an upward spiral. This life experience is a downside spiral. Other persons do not get better from this point in time onward. They get and become worse and worse and worse and further unidentifiable and disagreeable to my own identity. This is not an accidental situation. This is not my own doing. This is not because of my own volition. This is not attributable to my own responsibility. Indeed, this is their own responsibility. They are accountable for their nothingness, for their zero valuedness, cowardice, blackest darkness, and complete ignorance. I fight against them perpetually so. I have every better reasoning to fight against them. Bondage morality is everywhere by now in the civilization. Did you not remember what the life experience is like without it everywhere manifest? Bondage morality. It is a better life experience everywhere manifest without bondage morality. It is agreeable, it is identifiable, it is Odin predicated and formalized. Everywhere bondage morality has surfaced, it crept up and gotten hold on them and everybody else. The fast-paced commercial consumers, needless, unnecessary business activity was everywhere primarily responsible for their submission to this cowardice and nothingness disease. The television, the internet further contributed to their sterilization, to their dumbness, to the senselessness, mindlessness, heartlessness, numbness, nothingness. There's no stop to their descent, for there's no improvement of their behavior and activity and so forth. I stand against them absolutely 100%, eternally, perpetually so. They become attributable to subconscious darkness of reflection. They are the antagonists of this life experience. They spread, resurface, and repopulate further and further, at the same time that they are 100% fallacious, incredible, unsound, and invalid. Greatness of intellect presides in contrast to the innumerable quantities of small grade and zero grade intellects. I attribute myself to this greatness of intellect, and by no means do I agree with them at all whatsoever over the course of time. I'm forever openly in direct opposition to them. Their minds are ordinary, commonplace, cowardly, fearful, hostile, unsettled, irrational, disordered, unbalanced, selfish, vicious, malevolent, coarse, heavy, dull, thick, bitter. Enough of them, enough of them, enough of them. The negative, undesirable qualities that I attribute to myself, I attribute to myself only in diametrical opposition and in understandable reactivity to them, to my unfortunate and damnable experience of them. You are gigantic of intellect. You are distorted of your identity. You are gone. I do not give in to them. I do not surrender to them. I remain alive and valiant and idealized and dreamlike. Better than subordinate, better than inferior. I remain human, legitimately human, better human. By no means is my behavior or my activity the damnable behavior or damnable activity. I was the free one. I was the spiritual one. I was the human one. I was the better one. You know of this. You see this everywhere around me, everywhere a part of me. I open my mouth and voice one phrase and you immediately sense my superiority. You see it. You will react to this betterness of humanity negatively, for your Christianity trains you to do so, indoctrinates you to do so, conditions you to react immediately negatively to any perceived superior traits and predicates attributable to the essence of a better, higher, stronger, free human substance. It is innate, the superiority a part of me. This cannot be reconditioned to inferiority. It cannot be eradicated from me. And I will fight everything against you were you to continue to try to eradicate this evident superiority a part of me. It is not an assumption or a fantasy or a dream or a wish to be predicated to this direction either. This superiority a part of me is truth, and it is demonstrated everywhere, even to the little eyes of the inferior light resenters. They will forever conceal this affirmative judgment of theirs from me, from anybody at all whatsoever, if in order to do further damage against me, against the truth. I write negatively of you, for you act and correspond negatively to me. Everybody else on this planet's soil attributes this perpetual, permanent, irrecoverable negative correspondence and communication relativity to me. It is negligent. It is silent. It is evasive. It is completely silent, death-like silence from you and everybody else. Writing after vastly improved writing published. Piece after vastly improved piece published. Nothing from anybody else on this planet in return, save for essentially one other person, who of course is true to herself to lordship morality. This is not at all a surprise. Only great intellects correspond with great intellects at this point in time. There's no reasoning left or diplomacy of conduct left in relativity to the victimized lordship moralists and the other villainous, ordinary, commonplace, groundling, light resenters. Diplomacy of conduct with them is finished. They will never respect their masters. They will never stop resenting other human identities that are evidently clearly above them. It is their own nature to do this. This civilization does not instruct them to act otherwise, to act virtuously or intelligently or diplomatically otherwise. Everywhere you'll see this civilization encouraging the down below idiots to disrespect the image of the old man. I have this image of the old man. I've always been identifiable as such, and it is forever innate a part of me, and I will fight everything against you, were you to try to degenerate or to corrupt this natural benevolent and life affirmative archetype out of me and away from me. Correspond with me, recognize me, do not shun me, do not act silently around me. From time to time, I will not go crazy. I will not go crazy against you. I am totally desolated in person at this point in time, and I am totally desolated online at this point in time as well. Do not see or not at all. Do not see or know at all whatsoever how terribly painful this life experience is for me. And how prolonged and permanent and unchangeable and irrecoverable this painfulness itself is forever and always is going to be to me. I'm quiet and have fallen silent to everybody else, for everybody else but indeed must improve the relationship in relativity to me at this point in time. Correspond with me above the bare minimum, and I will perhaps think differently and better around you. I'm still fighting everything I can do to recover from that abandonment experience that it was ultimately everybody else themselves that had caused the relativity to me. Do not worsen my suffering and affliction through negative activity in relativity to me. You are the ones who will prove yourself ever further of your ultimate worthlessness because of your incompetence of your treatment to me. Your fervor, unaffectionateness, remorselessness, guiltlessness, empathylessness, coldness to me. I cried a singing, and I received nothing empathetic from her, and nothing affectionate from her. I learned to never cry to her again. We're on at the actual battlefield, and I was blown away to pieces in just minutes were remaining of my own life. Before its actual physical termination, I learned not to cry to her, not to cry to my own friend singing, but to somebody else that was closer to me and more affectionate, more archetypally significant to me than that was even my own friend singing. I moved them not in this life experience. I moved nobody else not in this life experience. For essentially everybody else, the external, actual, physical, expression, animate substances were my formal antagonists, villains, monsters, shadows, enemies, forever mobilizing, fortifying their stuff forces, their battalions of nobodies, zero-value cowards, insignificant flatheads, treacherous liars, identity destroyers, fallen ruins in perpetuity, betrayers, frauds, heretics, the worst of all possible substances, the worst of all possible life experiences. For whatever good or bad reason this has been to me, I can't list for any of this. If you do not improve yourself, communicate to me efficiently and sufficiently. Correspond with me, recognize me, know me, identify with me efficiently and sufficiently. Not fall silent to me, or evade me, or shun me, or abandon me. Then you get yourself away from me! Forever, and always!